Welcome back, everyone, and I honestly can't say I didn't see this one coming. Meathead meltdown. Rob Reiner suggests Mueller report cover up. For those who follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I regularly tell this man to stifle yourself, meathead. Honestly, I can't say that Carol O'Connor, if he were still with us, God rest his soul, wouldn't be actually in video form screaming, "Stifle yourself, meathead." Reiner has always been a mediocre actor at best, and trust me, Rob, I'm being very kind to you there. But far left extremist Rob Reiner is leading the charge to discredit the results of Robert Mueller's report as a cover up because the special counsel failed to prove that President Trump was in cahoots with Russia. The Hollywood hothead has been one of Trump's most unhinged critics and frequently used his Twitter account to promote the vast conspiracy theory that Putin helped Trump steal the election from Hillary Clinton, a woman who Reiner supported and even held a fundraiser for in his own home. Now that over 2 years of fake news, damned lies, and conspiracy mongering has gone up in flames following last week's announcement that Trump was exonerated from the collusion delusion, Rabid Rob is at the forefront of pushing the new crackpot hoax that Attorney General William Barr is engaged in a massive cover-up and that ballyhooed Mueller doesn't walk on water after all. In a typically deranged Twitter missive, the corpulent 72-year-old, I have to say, guys, whoever you've got to write this, they're amazing. In a typically deranged Twitter missive, the corpulent 72-year-old who parlayed his role as Archie Bunker's pinko son-in-law Michael Stivic, aka Meathead, into decades of success as a director until his career began to circle the drain in recent years and he went cuckoo for conspiracy. Reiner accused Barr of gaslighting the public and asked his followers who they were going to believe, him or their lying eyes. Autocracy 101, continually lie and tell you not to believe what you see with your own eyes. Trump, with the protection of cult GOP, Fox, and AG Barr, is in full gaslight mode. We've seen collusion and obstruction in plain sight. Reality is reality. Truth is truth. Trust your eyes. Reiner has frequently praised Mueller and other operators like John Brennan as well as voiced his support for a deep state overthrow of an election that didn't go his way. I'm not going to read all of these because I really don't want to go down the Reiner rabbit hole. I like my sanity. It seems like Meathead is doing more than simply caping for Trump's antagonist. Not only has Reiner completely gone off the rails on Twitter, but according to a bombshell expose by Paul Sperry of Real Clear Politics, he, along with billionaire George Soros, is one of the funders of a shady organization that has specialized in feeding Trump-Russia propaganda to the media. That's honestly not a surprise, folks. Key Democratic operatives and private investigators who tried to derail Donald Trump's campaign by claiming he was a tool of the Kremlin have rebooted their operation since his election with a multi-million-dollar stealth campaign to persuade major media outlets and lawmakers that the president should be impeached. The effort has successfully placed a series of questionable stories alleging secret back channels and meetings between Trump associates and Russian spies, while influencing related investigations and reports from Congress. The operation's nerve center is a Washington-based nonprofit called the Democracy Integrity Project, or TDIP. Stopping here, we're not a democracy. We are a representative republic, constitutional republic if you want to use that term. Among other activities, it pumps out daily research briefings to prominent Washington journalists, as well as congressional staffers to keep the Russia collusion narrative alive. TDIP is led by Daniel J. Jones, a former FBI investigator, Clinton administration volunteer, and top staffer to California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. It employs the key opposition research figures behind the salacious and unverified dossier, Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson, and ex-British intelligence officer Christopher Steele. Its financial backers include the actor-director Rob Reiner and billionaire activist George Soros. The project's work has largely been shrouded in mystery, but a months-long investigation by Real Clear Investigations, RCI, drawn from documents and more than a dozen interviews, found that the organization is running an elaborate media influence operation that includes driving and shaping daily coverage of the Russia collusion theory, as well as pushing stories about Trump into the national media that attempt to tie the president or his associates to the Kremlin. The group also feeds information to the FBI and congressional investigators, and then tells reporters that authorities are investigating those leads. The tactic adds credibility to TDIP's pitches, luring big media outlets to bite onto the stories. Reiner partnered up with Trump-hating neocons and deep state spooks like Bill Kristol, Max Boot, and James Clapper to create their own committee to investigate Russia. Some may suggest that Reiner's involvement in organizations that have been actively seeking to overthrow the duly elected president, and therefore the government itself, that he should be at the top of the list if there is a new special counsel, or even multiple special counsels, appointed to investigate the failed coup against Trump, would make him a prime candidate, face a serious grilling from authorities, maybe even a pre-dawn paramilitary raid on his home, like Mueller dialed up for Roger Stone. First, how can you look at this face and not go, put down the drugs, Rob. Drugs are bad, okay? This man has been unhinged since the 70s. If you watch his so-called acting on the Archie Bunker show, All in the Family, you could tell he's not all there even then. No one acts that crazy, at least not without being close to that crazy. But he parlayed that success with a show carried by Carol O'Connor into a career that's only now, 4 decades later, starting to flag. And this man firmly believes that he should be the one leading everything. He can't stand the spiral down the drain into irrelevance. So, of course, the entire world must be against him, and it's an evil Russian conspiracy to elect Donald Trump to make him look bad. It's not that the American people rejected the socialist plans of Hillary Clinton to disarm us and open our borders to the criminals of the world. It's not that we didn't want to be taxed into poverty while people like Hillary and AOC and Reiner here live lives of luxury while telling us how evil we are for not praising them for driving us into poverty. No, it can't be that. It has to be a conspiracy. I've said this on Twitter, and I'll say it again here. I don't often call for boycotts. I will let it be known that I'm not buying something or not shopping somewhere or whatnot. When Denny's, many years ago, told 2 on-duty police officers they could not enter with their firearms, I didn't go to Denny's for years, and many people didn't either. I can remember not that long ago when I was living here with a friend of mine rebuilding his home, before ultimately my parents moved down here and then I built next door. The Denny's parking lot was pretty much always full. They were a version of Waffle House, 24/7, great service, great food, all of it. And I'll admit, there are several things on their menu I really enjoy. But when they tell on-duty police officers, you have to disarm yourself or you can't come in, I quit going there. Now, if you took out the 1 or 2 vehicles for the normally 1 cook, maybe 2 waiters. So if you take out the 1 to 3 cars from their parking lot because they have to have someone there are normally no more than 4 vehicles total, and that's at peak hour. I've had days where I'm all over town and I drive by it regularly in my course of the day, and I'll see no activity. Denny's really jumped off the deep end, and a lot of people didn't like it. And now we have Reiner doing the same thing. A lot of other supposed actors, although most of them haven't been in anything for over 10 years, recently told the state of Georgia that if the governor of Georgia signed a bill that the state house and the state senate passed, that being to outlaw abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected, that they would boycott Georgia, which I find rather comical because they've been boycotting making movies for over 10 years. But I don't call for boycotts. I just let it be known what I'm personally boycotting. And Hollywood is starting to see this is a trend among conservatives. I will never go see a movie that Rob Reiner's associated with again. Ever. I'd love to see the man destitute in 4 to 5 years because he's an idiot who doesn't know how to invest, is what I'd bet. Or at least just crying on the news once a week that he's being bullied out of Hollywood because people aren't seeing his movies. You look at uh, Jordan Peele with Get Out and Us, which I've heard are actually very good movies. But Peele recently said he doesn't think he'll ever hire a white actor again. Well, as a white moviegoer, I won't give him my money. Ever. Again. It amazes me that people can be this disconnected with the world. Reiner was on a TV show which the main character was an extremely conservative man. And he played an extreme liberal, and I think he drank the Kool-Aid a little bit too much. Pardon me. But I've talked long enough. I want to hear what you have to say, so keep the comments classy and civil. As I've said many times, we don't learn from arguments, we learn from debate. So make sure you do that. Treat everyone as you wish to be treated. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. I have several rabbit holes I'm about to be jumping down, so you'll not only want to be a subscriber, you'll also want to ring the notification bell. That way you can stay up to date with all of the stuff coming out. I can tell you the rabbit holes are going to be non-news reaction videos. I realize as a teacher of social studies I have a unique perspective on these, but that also extends to other topics. So you'll want to make sure, again, you're subscribed with notifications so you can stay up to date. Until then, have a wonderful day.